Hello there, Azer here, back again with another reviews of sorts. This time it is a playtest of a game that is currently they have this open beta kind of an ordeals that allow everybody to actually participate as long as you are able to get the key. They are just stress testing their servers, so there's bound to be like hiccups and optimizations issues here and there. However, as how I've actually played this game so far in like several days, it's just pretty good. I actually dare to say that if you want to compare this game to something like other Mech games, the only comparable one is probably like Armor Core 6 or Armor Core like 4 or something. That's what I heard from other players about how the feel of the game feels like. Now, for me, right, I did not really like get into the whole Armor Core series early on because I just cannot afford those games and I don't really know about those games back then. I know that they are from Software, and the reason why we even actually know about Armored Core 6 is because of the success of Elden Ring. So because they are the same developer, people are also expecting a banger, and they actually delivered. That is actually being explained in my previous video of like the renaissance of Mech games is upon us, and it's finally here. Now, yes, I know, a lot of people might say, hey, this game is kind of just like a hero shooter, but with mechs. And technically, I would have to say you're right, because a lot of those objectives in these maps and everything else is also literally like a lot of them are just literally just hero shooter elements, like especially like the part where you have to push the cards. The unique thing about this, however, is that because of how crazy the movement system in this game allows you to, you can literally just dash around as fast, like I don't know, you can dash around like the speed of the Gundam versus games rather than like the Gundam battle operation games, I guess, because this one here, as long as you have like a good performance on your PC, and if you have like a very good skill and timing, and you memorize all the like cooldowns and stuff, you'll be able to handle yourself pretty nicely. Now at the moment, most players are definitely like going out in a brain dead mode and just destroy whatever that is in front of them, or just try to use every single skill whenever they could possibly use, I guess. But the game is designed in such a way that everybody has a chance to like turn the tide. Like there's so many, games where I actually managed to turn the tide and actually achieve a victory, even when our whole team is actually getting destroyed by the enemy side. By just, the enemy is literally like killing so many amounts of us, or destroying our mechs here left and right. But I don't understand how, but somehow if we are persistent enough and we just focus on completing objectives, you can still actually achieve a victory. And if the enemy is like just focused on killing too much, then they're gonna lose for the most part. So the game is still like objective based, except for maybe the one that actually only have like one life, and that one is a little bit tough because if most of your teammates are dead, you are definitely going to get overwhelmed by the enemies shooting at you. So that one is a very, very obvious one that turning the tide is not possible in that game. However, for the most game modes that I've played, it's just pretty cool. It has this feel that I really wanted for like a Mech game, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of Mech games already existing in the market, I guess since the dawn of time, but for the most part, most of them are very clunky, or they wanted to just make this like a grounded feeling to the mechs. For me, I would prefer to have Gundam versus moving mechs, because that is the gameplay speed that I wanted to see in like competitions or in like esport events, because those are the kind of plays that would actually look really, really cool when you're able to pull it off, especially with like the laser bombardments and tons of missiles everywhere, howitzers, cannons, bazookas. All those are bonuses because I mean, they all look pretty flashy, but they all have at least some purpose, I guess. Every single mechs also have their own weaknesses, and there's no like single mech that has like complete complete OP tier list or something. I believe every single mech has their own users and has their parts where they can actually shine the most, especially like even the first mech that was given to you. I managed to do pretty well in certain matches that if I match up it's actually just medium mechs, but you know, against stationaries or tankier mechs is probably a little bit harder to deal with them, especially if you understand the mechanics of how you can actually have a second win, I guess. But overall, right, the game is actually on a very, very decent and very solid position in terms of gameplay feel. It's way better than anything Bandai Namco have released, including Gundam Evolution, because unfortunately Gundam Evolution just doesn't work because it's a hero shooter. Now, don't get me wrong, right? This game is technically a hero shooter, but because you can fly, you can just dash, air dash, you can technically just do that infinitely. As long as you have energy boosts, you have enough energy, or you can get some support items, or maybe if another robot actually supports your energy, it can actually boost up your energy regen. You can technically just teleport or just dash all around and keep dodging non-stop if you wanted to. And that makes a whole lot of differences in comparison to like a game like even Gundam versus series, because in that game, I mean, sure, you know, you can still do that kind of maneuver, but not all Gundams can actually do like the infinite dashing, infinite like dodging systems, because they all has to eventually land down on the ground to recover boosts eventually. But in this game, there are mechs that actually can just consistently fly for long hours, long periods of time, and their energy would not actually drop like very quickly unless you just keep boosting, which is like the air versions, I guess. But there are also units that are very grounded, but that does not mean that they cannot contest with air superiority, because most air units are definitely not heavy or ultra heavy. So, you know, if you get caught by like something that is shooting you very, very hard in your face, you're going to get stunned and you're gonna get bombarded out of the sky if you don't really know what you're doing. And also remember, guys, there's also sniper mech suits as well, which is going to also counter that play as well. But to be honest, I really think that the current mechs lineup is actually pretty decent. However, I could see there is a huge issue coming up if they continue on with this model. Now, okay, don't get me wrong, right? I mean, the game is still pretty decent, but in the future, if they don't allow us to like change the armaments or the weapon systems of the mechs that you actually have, and we cannot like, you know, change it to a different weapons or change different verniers or change different legs or different boosters or different batteries, if we actually cannot customize all these things here and we only had to rely on modding systems, it is not going to be comparable to something like Armor Core, unfortunately. Armor Core allows us to customize every single thing. Yes, every single thing, even the most pointless things like batteries and your weapon styles and the ammo, the counts, and the wake systems are all accounted for in that game. I know that this game is like not exactly as complicated as something like Armor Core 6, but it is in no way that means that this game is bad at all, because it's actually the best mech game, live service, arena shooter game that I have ever played so far. People who knows how to fly an air unit will be able to showcase their skills in the skies, and you probably cannot even chase them down if they are that good. You know, it actually allows skillful play to be a thing, and because of how the balancing works in this game, I think it's actually pretty decent. Now, sure, you know, certain mechs are going to be able to counter certain mechs, but it does not mean that, you know, there's going to be a one ultimate mech that is going to be indestructible. Technically, you can do that if you have a support partner that keeps on to, you know, sticking with you. But for the most part, this game is just going to be a very, very competitive kind of an arena mech shooter genre, I guess. Now, I really wish more live service games or any mech games at all would actually copy the speed of how this live service game here showcase, because this is the mech game dream that a lot of like mech pilots always dream of. Like for the longest time, we don't want something like Gundam Breaker. It's like, alright, I guess. We don't want something like Gundam Battle Operations 2. I mean, if you're a hardcore veteran or you're like the kind that likes realistic and grounded style of gameplay, I mean, sure, that is serviceable. But the problem is, it's like you're playing a World of Tanks or you're playing War Thunder, or but with just mech suits, which is like, very boring, to be honest. Because come on, man, a mech can do a lot of things. It should be able to fire thousands of barrage of missiles. It should be able to shoot tons of lasers that can destroy multiple mechs at once. It should be able to do crazy feats like able to increase your boost and able to just suddenly like disappear out of nowhere, or suddenly have some invisible fields that make you in your mech suits invisible. A lot of those crazy superpowers like feeling like stuff that mechs usually always can utilize because of the technology advancements in the future. So this game gives you that itch, I guess, if you are a fan of like the Gundam versus series, but you don't really want to, you know, play on a console, or you don't really want to play the original, you don't want to wait for like the release from Bandai Namco, because they are keeping most of the newest and latest Gundam versus titles on arcade machines. I think this one is probably the best bet, because not only is this a free-to-play game, I mean, sure, the monetization system is not out yet because it's a playtest, but I think if they actually do it well enough in the future and they keep on adding new mechs with more customization features and maybe allow us to change the weapons into different variants of it, then I think this game will have a huge potential to be the mainstay live service mech game that everybody will try to play, because, you know, everybody just loves playing PvP apparently in this modern age. When I look at games like Battle Royales, genres and stuff like that, I mean, those games also have mechs, but in terms of like just a core mech game that's enjoyable and looks pretty fancy and looks like pretty cool enough, I guess, and you can actually like paint your mech very, very easily as well. So far they just allow us to just, you know, buy paints for using the in-game currency, but I don't really know what's the real monetization in the future would be. But so far, so good. It actually fulfills that itch that I have for the longest time. So hopefully the game would become way better than this, but only time will tell. For now, I guess this is the playtest review from me. I hope there is going to be more opportunities to review more contents in this field in the future if this game actually becomes when this game actually is releasing soon, I guess. But so far, I'm really enjoying it, and I hope that people who are curious about mechs should at least, you know, play something like this. Or maybe, you know, after playing Armored Core 6 and you just realize, hey, I actually like mech games, I guess you can probably try this one out. Please click the like and subscribe if you like my video and review content, and I'm gonna see you next time. Sayonara.